Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. So, today I want to talk to you just a little bit about how better health equals better sex. Ooh, I said sex. But yeah, definitely. Probably not something we talk about a lot. So much focus gets put on things like losing weight and oh, I want a flat tummy and how do I get these banging abs and big butts and all these different things we talk about and you see on social media with regards to health and all this good stuff. But what about your sex life, right? Does your health have anything to do with that? Let's talk about that, all right? But before we do, as always, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest content. All you got to do is see that little logo right there at the bottom right of your screen. You click that, take you right to the subscribe button right there as well, okay? So remember, live streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Time. Yes, a little bit late today, but sometimes that happens. But I'm here nonetheless, all right? But as always, I like to dive right on in. So let's get this thing rolling. So, hey, if you were to go to your web browser right now and type in better health leads to better sex, what would you find? Well, it takes you right to what do you know? I put together some thoughts on better health and how it helps with your sex life. So I wanted to expand on that just a little bit. And yes, I'm going to use my own actual text as a little bit of a gauge, and then we'll go and drop a couple of extra studies into this like I always like to do. I always like to back up everything that I say with some factual information. Because remember, when it comes to your health, your wellness, your weight, your body, all those different things, it's about science, and that's it. Doesn't matter about anything else, okay? So let's kind of start talking about here with sexual dysfunction, okay? So as it goes on to say, as I say, right, there was a study done on sexual dysfunction, and it found that men and women with poor physical health are more likely to experience sexual dysfunction than their counterparts. Of course, those counterparts being folks that actually are taking care of their overall health, right? So the study also found that 43% of women, 43% on average, when we're talking about women, are more likely than men at 31% to experience sexual dysfunction, okay? And one of those reasons was about their own perception of attractiveness, right? So there was a study on sexual desirability, and it was found that physically fit men, okay, and women. Now think about that. We're just talking about just being physically fit, whether you're a man or a woman. And this is just folks that exercise 3 times per week. They basically perceive that their desirability was greater than average. So if we go to this study, and this is the one here, right here, you click this link, opens up to this study here, right? One of the other things that they found in this study here as well, let's see, where is it? Oh, so here it is. So while the association of an active lifestyle with a decreased risk of chronic disease, which we all know is well understood, we may be even talking about enhancing sexual performance, pleasure, et cetera, right? So the study found that increased time spent in physical activity was associated with a higher reported frequency of sexual behavior and frequency of desired sexual activity among the folks in the study, right? So things like physical endurance, muscle tone, and body composition all improve sexual functioning, right? So some of the things they're talking about here, when we're talking about physical endurance, we're just literally talking about cardiorespiratory and muscular endurance, right? So you kind of think about things like something as simple as climbing upstairs, right? Or running around the neighborhood, right? Or, if you're at the gym, you're talking about lifting weights, things like that. So that's kind of the stuff we're talking about with physical endurance, right? Muscle tone, right? What are we talking about there? So now we're talking about lean bodies. Can you actually see a little bit of that muscle, right? Do we see any of those, what do we call them, those cuts and those rips and those shreds in your body, right? Can you see those washboard, flat stomach, those six-pack abs, things like that? When we're talking about body composition, we're talking about the amount of fat compared to the amount of muscle in your body. So one of those things you've probably heard about is body fat percentage. And of course, we know there are healthy ranges for body fat percentage. So, a healthy range of body fat percentage, aka healthy body composition, all of these things are associated with improving your sexual function, right? So, it goes on to say here, additionally, exercise activates your sympathetic nervous system, which encourages blood flow to the genital region, right? So, a lot of you probably think about blood flow to the genital region, right? And we're associating that only with men, and that's not the case. Whether it's a man or a woman, when you're getting ready for that certain activity, right? You are going to need an increase of blood flow to that region of your body, and the easier it is for you to circulate blood throughout your body, the easier it is for you to circulate blood flow to those specific regions when you need them. Okay. Also, this same study, this is a great study. That's why I'm staying on this one, right? That same study indicated that exercise may actually increase sexual drive, sexual activity, and sexual satisfaction. So now, not only are you wanting to have sex more, uh, not only are you actually having sex more, and then when you do have sex, you're actually enjoying it more. And all of that is coming from the fact that you're exercising more often. So, again, the benefits of exercise are well documented. I think we all know if you've ever had an exercise bout, if you've ever come from the gym, you know how you feel, right? Yeah, you may be a little exhausted, right? You may be a little bit tired, but the benefits are too many to pass up. We talked about chronic disease. We've talked about blood pressure and blood glucose and all these things, controlling your weight. But look, now, in addition to all of those things, feeling good and looking good, now you can actually get to enjoy your sex life as well. Okay. Now, here's one little nugget as we finish up on this story before I go to my next one here. The study also reported that, yes, exercise is linked to increase in testosterone levels for men, but you gotta watch it, okay? Because too much exercise can be associated with a decrease in testosterone and other male hormones, right? So that can actually have a negative impact on your sexual drive and your sexual health. So you just gotta watch it. My motto is always 5 days a week, 30 to 45 minutes. You should be good. Okay, you don't need to overdo it. Okay, moving on. So, what are some things that we can actually do, right? As far as improving our overall health, we already talked about the fact that exercise, well documented. Before we get there, real quick. Oh no, yeah, we're there. Yeah, we're there. All right, so some of the things that you can do real quick, other than exercise. Again, those benefits are well documented. I don't think I need to continue to talk about that, right? So you kind of may not think about this one too much, okay? But one thing that you can maybe focus on is anxiety, right? It may be, as it says here in the article, it may be difficult, right? Or it may be a challenge for you to actually feel in the mood if you're anxious about something, if you're worried about something, right? Um, so, um, so again, as it says here, if you're feeling anxious, and it translates clinically, right? Anxiety has been proven to worsen sexual dysfunction. So we know from our study here, where we talked about sexual dysfunction is more prevalent in women than it is in men, right? So we know that if you already have a little bit of sexual dysfunction, and now you're adding anxiety on top of it, now you're compounding the issue, right? So one of the things you want to do is kind of manage that stress, manage that anxiety, right? Another one here, treating depression, right? So if you have any form of depression, some levels can be more or less depending on the person, depending on the scenario, right? But again, similar to anxiety, when you're depressed, you're not really going to be thinking about sexual activity. You're not going to want to have sex. If you do have sex, it's probably not going to be enjoyable sex, right? So that's another thing to think about. Think about depression. So you're going to want to get that under control as well. Find some techniques that can help manage depression. Now, this one goes without saying. Sleep pretty much helps everything. All right, so it shouldn't be a surprise that if you get a good night's sleep, you're going to help improve your sexual health, right? So sleep disorders are associated with many different health problems, including low libido and sexual dysfunction, right? So when you sleep, your body is basically, ooh, I hit my microphone there. When you sleep, your body is basically going into kind of like repair mode. It's kind of fixing things. It's kind of giving your body a break from the day you've already had. And obviously, one of the things that could be affected from that, if you're not getting quality sleep, would be actually your sexual activity, your sexual performance, your sexual desire, all those things, right? And then we have other things, herbs and natural homeopathic type remedies, right? So I'm not going to go through all of these individually, but this is just a nice little quick little list of some things that you can think about the next time you're at the grocery store. And you say, hey, I was watching this video. Charles was telling me about getting some of that matcha or getting some of that ginseng, right? Ginkgo biloba, okay? So those are some of the herbs. There's more, right? But those are just some of the ones that you can think about researching, if you're saying, hey, maybe I do want to start improving and helping my overall sexual health, right? And obviously, we already talked about it, exercise, so I'm going to move on, right? We talked about that already, right? So again, also libido enhancing foods, so things like zinc, okay? Stamina and circulation boosters, right? So one of the ones that comes off the top of my head that's not on this list would be beets, spinach, but they also list things like whole grains, legumes, things like that. And then foods with high flavonoids, so things like citrus and peppers and tea, all those different things, right? So I'm going to slow down for 1 second because I want y'all to actually connect the dots here real quick, because here we come to the point to where it says you want to make sure if you are having any issues with your sex life, right, your sexual health, and you're saying, hey, I want to improve it, I want it to be better, okay, that are high in saturated fats like fried foods. We want to make sure that we are limiting high sodium foods. We want to make sure we're limiting foods that require a bunch of insulin to process. Now, this gives me a perfect opportunity to shout out that I have placed links to my video on high blood pressure. So you can find that right in the description of this video. All right. You can also find my video on high cholesterol in the description of this video. But what do these have to do with? Well, I kind of just gave it away. If we're talking about foods that require insulin to process, all right, we're talking about those foods that are high in sugar, okay? We're talking about candy and cakes and cookies and ice cream, all that dessert food, right? So we don't want to overwork our pancreas requiring too much insulin to process. That can help reduce testosterone levels. We don't want that. Well, what about this one here? High sodium, all right? It's been long researched and long reported that diets that are high in sodium can increase blood pressure. Again, if you have healthy blood pressure, it's easy to get blood flow where you want it when you need it, okay? And again, check out my video. It's in the description of this video on hypertension, all right? Check that out for sure, okay? And then also, high in saturated fats, okay? Well, what the heck is that about, right? Well, if we're talking about foods that are high in saturated fats, now we're talking about too much fat, too much triglycerides, too much cholesterol. Well, now we're clogging our arteries, and now we're restricting blood flow. Again, sexual health is a lot about blood flow, okay? Because when you're, getting yourself in the mood, right? One of the things that you need is blood flow. The other thing is you need hormone flow. Well, how does hormones flow throughout your body? It flows through blood. So if you restrict your blood flow, you're going to restrict your hormone flow. You're going to restrict your oxygen flow. You're going to restrict the nutrients that's in your blood to go where they need to go when you're trying to do what you're trying to do, right? Those are just some quick tips. And these are all things that we can work on now. And again, if you're somebody who already knows that they're struggling with cholesterol and hypertension issues and all that, this is going to help that. And it's going to help your sex life as well. So real quick, I wanted to specifically talk about women's sexual health, and then we'll end on the gentleman's side. Okay, so this article here mentioned how oxytocin, which comes from vitamin C, right? As you can see, as I scroll through this one, oh, you got to cut through all the fat on this one. For me, I love reading this stuff, but I'm not going to make y'all do that, right? I'm going to go straight from this article here to this one, okay, where we're talking about the role of oxytocin in the relation to female sexual arousal. Okay, so again, oxytocin, if you're eating foods rich in vitamin C, as your body processes it, oxytocin, okay, that's the connection of this article here. And foods high in vitamin C, citrus fruits, and things like that, right? So, we know oxytocin is involved in human reproduction, and it serves an important role in sexual arousal. So what they did in this study is they said that, hey, the serum levels were measured before and after sexual stimulation in women. And they said oxytocin 1 minute after orgasm was significantly higher than baseline levels, right? So basically, what they're saying is that oxytocin, if we're specifically talking about women, right? Oxytocin is important for your overall enjoyment of your sexual activity, your sexual life, right? So you're going to want, again, like we're saying here, we go back to this article, we're going to want to include foods that are high in vitamin C, aka, if you ever see this on a food label, ascorbic acid, same thing. Okay, so again, fresh fruits and vegetables, oranges, lemons, grapefruit, watermelon, papaya, strawberries, cantaloupe, mango, pineapple. I'm not going to read the whole list. The point is, eat healthy fresh fruits and vegetables, increase your vitamin C intake, increase your oxytocin, enjoy more sex for the ladies, right? All right. And then last but not least, I can't really go complete this video here without talking about ED, right? ED is short for erectile dysfunction. Big problem. Well, can be a problem for some men, right? So obviously, erectile dysfunction is basically the inability to get an erection, right? And obviously, that's something that you might need if you're trying to be enjoying your sexual life, right? Your sexual health, right? So what is the first thing that we normally think about when we say, oh man, it's an ED problem? Well, the first thing we start thinking about that little blue pill, right? It's the first thing we think about, or other medication, right? Well, again, what is an erection about? It's about blood flow, okay? So the things we need to start focusing on is how can I improve my blood flow? How can I improve my overall health, which will result in improving my overall sexual health, right? So as it goes here, what are some of the causes? Well, you guessed it. I'm pretty sure if you've watched at least one of my videos or seen me talk for 5 seconds, you're going to know that this is where we're going here, right? Some of the causes of erectile dysfunction includes heart disease, restricted blood flow, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, right? Tobacco use, right? Sleep disorders, too much alcoholism, etc., right? And also, as you can see, low testosterone, okay? Now, obviously, I'm highlighting specific ones because there are other things here that may be outside of our control. Surgeries and injuries, right? Maybe we can't control that, right? Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, stuff like that, we can't control. So I'm not necessarily talking about that. But the things that we can control, right? Again, these first few, heart disease going down through obesity, issues with our sleep, and low testosterone. How can we improve all of those things? Well, if we go back here, we're going to go right here. Okay? It comes back to, as everything normally comes back to, 99% of the time, everything comes back to what are you putting in your body, right? So again, as easy as this article reads, eat libido enhancing foods, this basically means eat foods that are good for your overall health. As this simply says limit libido lowering foods, this basically says limit foods that are bad for your health. Okay? So again, if you're looking at heart disease and all these things, those are some of the things you want to get rid of and control, right? So again, prevention, we already know what it's going to say, folks. Exercise regularly. Get your 4 to 5 days of 30 to 45 minutes in. Start now. Okay. We talked about stress and anxiety. We've already discussed these things, folks. So we're reiterating the same things over again. So none of this stuff is new, but we have to make sure we keep it in the forefront of our mind, right? So again, anxiety and depression. Make sure that you're managing diabetes. Well, how do we manage diabetes? Control what we put in our body, right? Well, how do we control heart disease? Control what we put in our body. Well, how do we control other chronic health conditions like high blood pressure and dyslipidemia, excuse me? Control what we put in our bodies. So again, we want to make sure that we're avoiding all of these high saturated fat foods and all that stuff, all the sugar and all that extra stuff. And we want to make sure that we're eating plenty of foods that are rich in nutrients, high in fiber, fresh fruits and vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, all those different things that are associated with good overall health to improve our sexual health. Woo! All right, so let's do a quick little review, and then we'll do some Q&A. So again, we talked about the fact that, and y'all are welcome to, and matter of fact, I encourage you, check this link out. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put this link on the description of this video as well, so you can check out this article that I wrote way back in 2016. Oh boy, all right, that was a little while ago. But anywho, I'll put a link to that video. So again, we started out here. We talked about the fact that more women are more likely to have sexual dysfunction than men. We talked about the fact that some of that has to do with the perception of your own attractiveness, and it's simply put that if you're more physically fit, whether you're a man or a woman, you're more likely to consider yourself attractive and desirable, right? We also talked about the fact that when we looked through this article here, we talked about making sure you're getting the right amount of exercise for men for healthy testosterone levels. Exercise helps increase your sexual enjoyment, your desire. It increases your libido. It increases different types of foods. We talked about women. Hey, make sure you're getting plenty of vitamin C. And for men, make sure we're controlling things and eliminating things like heart disease, high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity. All of those things are a man's worst nightmare when it comes to erectile dysfunction. Okay. All right. See if we can do some Q&A. And remember, we do this at the end of every video. Doesn't matter if it's about this topic or anything else. All right. Got some orange juice myself. Hey, vitamin C. What are some good sources? Good sources of vitamin C are simple. We talked about it. Maybe you missed that one, but good sources. I'm drinking orange juice, right? So citrus fruits are good. Oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruit, stuff like that. But definitely your carrots, your leafy greens. Pretty much if it is a fruit or a vegetable, you're going to have some type of vitamin C. So by all means, there's never really a reason not to consume things like healthy fruits and vegetables. So definitely those. Follow-up question. What was that? The blood flow one. Yeah. So the question was about the specific foods for blood flow. So the one that I popped in my brain immediately when I was thinking about blood flow was beets, right? Beets are great for in improving your nitric oxide levels, and nitric oxide is just something else that helps blood flow, right? Also vasodilators. So anything that is a vasodilator, like, so we're talking about, if you're thinking about your artery, vasodilation means that you're going to help open it up, right? You're going to help open up your blood vessels. So natural sources of caffeine. So hey, if you know you're going to be getting ready for a good evening, maybe you have a little coffee before, right? Maybe a little tea. Okay. Spinach is also a good one. Again, pretty much every type of healthy fruit and vegetable is going to help benefit you either in this area or some other area. So good questions. Okay. All right. I think that's it for now. Let's see here. Oh, so again, quick little tour on the page. If you go here, You can easily figure out how you can easily subscribe to the channel right here from my webpage. So if you have any issues, which you shouldn't, subscribing from YouTube, but you can easily subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and you can follow me on Twitter. As soon as you type in fitnesscharles.com, you can find out how you can try my 3 times the burn program for free, 2 weeks. And also check out how to become part of my Fit Forever family. More details on that coming real soon, so stay tuned there. And yes, you can also purchase oh, it didn't load. I'll have to check that out. But you can also purchase my books, the 85-15 diet plan, where I talk about how you can set up your own nutrition plan, figure out how you can actually improve your eating habits right now. You can also check out my book, The Toilet Book, where I talk about all the things that are associated with what goes in, all right? Because believe it or not, the way stuff looks and is and feels, well, maybe not feels, once it goes out of your body, can tell you a lot about your health. So you can check those out as well, all right? So again, remember, live streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Time. A little bit late today, but we'll be back on schedule next week. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. You can click that little logo. Oh, is it on this side? You can click that little logo that's right below me, my logo at the bottom right of this screen. It'll take you right to how to subscribe. Make sure you check out the videos on cholesterol and hypertension that are in the description to this video. I will see y'all on Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Be happy and be healthy.